Okay, thank you. Also, I wish to say, I don't know, maybe a lot of people here are from different parts of the world, Asia, America, Europe, Africa, Australia. Sorry if I didn't mention it all, but just want to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So in my country, BH, Bosnia and Herzegovina, is 3 o'clock and 50 minutes, so it's kind of afternoon. Oh, this is second time. First time was in 2020. Now it's first time in 21 that I have to say something on C# Corner conferences, and there's a quite a huge experience for me, and I like to be the part of noble causes, especially here in COVID-19 outbreak, where I hope this conference get as much as possible funding to help young children that have actually a lot of issues and problems during this pandemic situation. So I hope this my small amount of knowledge will do it what I have to do. Okay, let's do the speak and the talk. As Simon says, my topic is privacy related. So my whole career, last 20 years, and before GDPR and before all this cybersecurity, hip and fuzz and buzzword, I had the focus on privacy and encryption, because encryption and privacy is going side by side. So when GDPR goes out before couple years ago, 2018, this kind of privacy issue are trying to be solved in formal way. So before this we have occasional formal solution by country, by region, by continent, but this is first time on the multi-country level, on the formal level, that the bunch of countries, I don't know, the whole European Union have to apply to be GDPR compliant. So this talk is actually try to find the intersection of the SQL Server features and GDPR, how we can do the best, how we can find the features in SQL Server, and of course Azure SQL Database, because it's the same. So any feature in SQL that I will show you today is equal to Azure, so there is no difference at all. Okay, before we start, this agenda. It's not big, but I will try to make it interesting, especially with a lot of example, and especially in this year, because 2020 is kind of changing the mindset. A lot of things is going on. There is a paradigm movement in whole world, and this privacy and security, of course, is kind of mind blowing. And I will show you in a minute what I had to say in this issue part. Then I will go on what's the GDPR, just definition, and then we'll jump into SQL Server to show you. First, by articles in GDPR, then I will explain in that article what kind of what are the SQL Server features that we can use to actually implement concrete requirements from the business side of Store. Then I will say on the last slide a couple of challenges that I see from my perspective and experience. What is the focus now, and what will be focused in years ahead. Okay, this is my favorite slide, but I will show you. Maybe it will be better if I show you like this. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, you see, if you type in your Google, DuckDuckGo, or whatsoever search engine, world biggest data breach and hacks, you will get this page, and you will see that you have the breaches and hacks from 2000, I believe 2004, 6, and then up to 2020. So why I'm showing this page? Because this page will show you in these circles, in these bubbles, and these bridges, some of the bubbles are the huge names, big names. You see, Facebook, Microsoft, Oxidata, Twitter, Marriott International Hotel, Yahoo. So we have Yahoo breach two time, and its score is 1 billion, or I believe it's 2 billion. Sorry, 1 or 2 billion is the same, because when you have 1 billion, so the second billion is not so hard to achieve. It's a black humor, but it is. So these numbers are the users, customers, me, you, and all. So our data, maybe last name, first name, email, your medical records, your passwords, your financial cards, your bills in Marriott hotels are now in the deep web. So anyone who have the access, and who, for example, who have to pay, because now in deep web with couple of bucks or Bitcoin cents, you can buy millions gigabytes of user data that you actually use for later attacks, phishing, and so on. So GDPR is trying to minimize this. When Facebook and whatsoever kind of company had a breach, and they have to report that. So we are now going on the slippery street, because this reporting part is tricky. Not every company will report that. You will see that some company, maybe 6 months later, 1 year later, when the hackers actually make the public information, we hack you, these are your data, then they go outside with PR and say we are sorry and so on, this story, how they are big and how they make mistakes. But before that, there's no sound at all about that breach. So many of these breaches here, many of them actually was undercover. So when the data is actually shown out, then the company stays. So GDPR jumps in to minimize these breaches and consequences for our users. So there will be penalty, there will be lawsuit. They need to pay. They need to pay to each customer if they are applying GDPR as should be. They need to pay some amount of money in lawsuit if the customers may complain about that. So this is this part. Second part, I want to show you this. I don't know, maybe you hear about this page, have I been pwned? Actually, this is the page of famous security research Troy Hunt, and actually Troy Hunt just makes simple web page and collect all this data from deep web and give us all of us opportunity to actually type our email address here and to see is our email address shown anywhere in deep web. And you will be surprised. Please, maybe now, maybe later, type your email, your private mail, your public email, or your company email. Just type it, and you will see if screen goes red. And please scroll down then, and you will see in which data breach your email is compromised, and the couple of steps that they're proposing to actually minimize this. And I can guarantee that you will find at least one breach of your email accounts. I have found one breach of my private email from Nitro PDF service. And Nitro PDF service, they have the breach before 6 months ago, and they didn't make public announcement about that. So I have to find out here that I have my email. So sometimes is a mail, sometimes is a password, sometimes is a bot, sometimes is your bank account. So you have to be careful on this part. So please get me back to presentation. So this is about these breaches. Okay, so let's jump to the GDPR. So GDPR is regulation on the European level union that each country have to, as a member of EU, should apply from May 2018, should apply this regulation in all business processes, especially in digital part, especially in this data part, in this whole digital transformation story from 2020 that's moving very fast. So according to definition, what is the privacy? It's a basic human right. So each one of us have the right to be private. I don't want to be seen in each situation. I want to hide my data. Why anyone beside my doctor should have the access to my medical carton? medical records, my customer data beside the company. And if I decide to actually move from bank A to bank B, I want to say to my all data after they make checking about my transaction as well, and they make and they verify that all my money is okay, is not a money laundering and so on. They have to delete all my data, analyze all this information just to keep aggregation part for the analysis, but they have to delete all this data from the data storages. Then I will decide bank B, bank C, and maybe D to actually move my data. So GDPR is going to very technical detail what you have to do. But this, if you now look this from two angles, from the customer side, this is a great. So from customer side of story, GDPR is simply a silver bullet. So it is holy grail because it's good. They will try, and they have the legal mechanism to actually defend my private data. But from the other side, vendor, company, I don't know, whatsoever, cloud provider, there's a lot of stuff they have to be done from the regulation part to the standardization, then to the final step of the implementation. So let's see what I have to say. If we now open GDPR and read these documents, and if you maybe look maybe 1 day, 2 days, 7 days, 1 month, I don't know, and if you try to make the parallel line between the regulation and the SQL Server, you will recognize these 5 GDPR articles: 25, 30, 32, 33, and 35. And each one of them is actually dealing with data. One is about security processing, and a couple of them is about notification and how to protect data asset on the some kind of the impact incident or the breach. So I will now move to each one of the article. Then on the demo part, I will try to actually show you some of the feature in the live, in action, how they can defend data and actually apply this GDPR story. Okay, the first part, data protection by design and default. What it means? It means I want to have out of the box in Azure, on premise, on hybrid, whatsoever. I want to have the feature that actually we protect my data with zero configuration, quote zero configuration. Maybe I have to do a couple of clicks, maybe I have to run a couple of scripts, but should be really simple. So by design, if you actually now look at the SQL Server security stack, you will see this authentication part is that. So each step of authentication will actually protect your data. Especially, maybe you know this part, maybe you don't, doesn't matter. With each of your statement ad hoc or through the application layers, SQL Server will always check permissions. So security, deny first, then allow. So always trust but verify. So SQL Server will always check your permission. Why? Because maybe on the fly, the permission has changed, situation has changed. Maybe administrator have to deny a permission, and if the SQL Server now needs to wait to session to actually to be finished, maybe I can do a lot of damage inside that environment. But SQL Server fortunately does not work like that. So when admin say deny, second statement will try to be executed from my side will be stopped by SQL Server. So it's by design. Also, if you move this authentication part to Azure Active Directory, it's the same. So authentication and authorization are the feature out of the box. Now, if we are going deep down, we have the permissions on the SQL Server level, DB level, object level, column level, Role-based security is kind of new feature. You have 10 records, and you won't say from ID 5 until ID 10 it will be forbidden. But you can't say that by the role. There is no permission that you can say that first 5 records are okay, second 5 are not okay, and they are forbidden. So role-based security is actually relatively new feature that protect your data by design and default with minimum interaction from the user side, especially from the application layer. Also firewall. Firewall, there is no firewall inside SQL Server on-prem, but you can configure firewall on your machine or maybe on your network. You will get same effect. But you have the firewall in Azure SQL Database, where you can actually deny by IP or whole subnet set of IP address. You can allow or you can deny access to your data sources. And also dynamic data masking is also by design. It requires a really small amount of effort to actually mask your data. Maybe you need to show the data to your HR, to your customer support, technical support, whatsoever, but you need to mask some of the details because they are not for their eyes. Maybe they are only for that department eyes only, or maybe they are for customer only. So it's really cool feature. I'll actually show you later in this firewall story. I will show you on the demo. Okay, let's move next. GDPR Article 13, record processing activities. So if we translate this into technical terminology, it's actually all about audit. So we need to track about anything, who, what, when, and who, what, when are the holy grails or the forensics. Because when we have who, Jasmin, what, update data, when, this morning, then I have 3 dimensions that actually I can use to prove something or not. So if this change was illegal, then this who, what, when will actually put me in jail. But if this change was okay, then no problem at all. So we need to actually audit the changes on first, then from the network level to the DB level, but we are focused here is on the DB. So SQL Server had a really cool feature in Azure. It's called auditing. Auditing, it's kind of really nice supplement for triggers because before audit, people actually and admins and developers was using trigger to actually intercept a change on the data level and actually catch that change, translate, transform, and actually store on audit tables. And then after that, put the transaction on the fly. But that situation was kind of performance issue because trigger has to stop something, after effect. Or before effect, so it's kind of bottleneck. But audit is on the DB level. It's actually hard coded, so it's a part of the base code of SQL Server and also code of the Azure. So you can audit anything. There is no action on SQL Server and the database level to actually can't audit on this part. And this Article 30 is actually full covered with this tool feature on-prem, on cloud, or on hybrid way. Article 32, security of processing. So the information, data that we actually collect from our users, people are maybe making orders online, students passing exam online. I want to schedule medical treatment online with my doctor. I want to do something online. And all this processing should be secure. Because just before I continue, I want to make a little stop here and speak about security and privacy. Security and privacy basically are opposite. but we need security to ensure the privacy. In some concept, if we raise security high above, the privacy goes down. If we want to make the privacy as a huge demand, we make the people to be private, anonymous, and so on. The actual security goes down. So it's an equilibrium. So it's a balance. But we need security to actually enforce and provide privacy for users. So SQL Server have a lot of features, bunch of them. Instead of the other feature, actually can ensure security of processing. So role-based security actually mentioned in feature before. So this feature can be treated as a processing part. So when I process data, these data are hidden from a lot of user, full stack of user, and can be shown only to the role inside my company that have the need, actually have the right to do analysis and so on. Sorry. Okay, I'll continue. TLS. Actually, TLS will ensure SSL encryption between client and server. TDE is kind of whole feature, but one of the best feature actually protect your data at rest. So if anyone actually made a copy of your backup file or detach your database and actually move it outside of your secure environment and try to restore and attach maybe in hostile environment, it will be failed. Why? Because they are missing all these key change, and SQL Server have the really nice best key hierarchy from server side. We have a service key, we have a service master key, we have a DB key, and then we have the key for if we want for each column, each table inside inside our database. So TDE is kind of feature that actually protect the whole database that actually can be pulled out. So I will now just go back on these bubbles. If someone actually hacked you and actually steal your backup file and try to restore, and you have the TDE feature actually configured as should be, simply they just can make a screenshot. We have DB and that's it. So they can just drop it in trash can and simple as it. So you can protect your million customers with simple click. So TDE can be activated, with two statements, or can be activated in Azure. By default, it's activated just with slider on off. Always encrypted is also a feature that trying to minimize administrator from the equation, because admin on the end have the full access right, and admin can always have access to all the key chain, so from the service level until the column level. But always on actually pulls encryption and decryption out from the SQL Server and put it on the client. So the client machine with .NET Stack, with Azure.NET Library, actually deals key rotation, key management, actually encryption and decryption. And also this second three feature, point in time restore, long-term retention, and active gear replication, are actually not security feature, but they will ensure disaster recovery if something goes wrong. I had a situation before, maybe 5-6 years ago. I was showing inside. I was making the training in one company, and actually speaking about Azure, how Azure is cool, how Azure is always on. And in that situation, Azure region, my Azure region was go down. So it's kind of situation, I speaking about that, and in all Azure, that part of the world actually goes offline. So these three features will actually ensure you that if your Azure region or your DB or your hard drives inside the cloud actually goes out, that maybe Asia region, Australia, Switzerland, Dublin, Seattle, New York, San Francisco actually goes up, and depend of your Azure payment. Maybe it's on the fly. Maybe you need to configure something, but you will have the copy of your data actually ready to jump in, and your business can move on. And anonymization and pseudonymization is actually not the feature of SQL Server, but there's a lot of third-party tools that you can use to actually mask your data, but not as a mask that actually you keep the original data. Actually, you need to change. So it's actually good if you need to send your data to analysis, to ETL, to warehouse, to data lakes, to some kind of analytics, to actually hide real information about your users, and it can be done really simple with a couple of SQL statements. Article 33, notification of personal data breach. And this is the most important part, that all GDPR is based that company is actually is applicable law that need to say we had a breach. Yes, it's shame. Yes, it's hard. Maybe we're losing our business, but it's ethically and morally right to do it. To actually, and I can guarantee that if you go out immediately and say we had a breach, our customer, and we are trying our best to protect you, please do step ABC to protect yourself, it will have a lot, maybe bigger effect to keep your business than if you actually keep quiet and keep your profile. So this is the only feature that actually so far does not exist inside SQL Server on-prem. So, but if you have your database inside, but it's not a feature of space kind feature. It's very simple. That in this case, Azure will deal with through this security center. If you type the email address of your maybe legal department, of your ministry of something, of security or whatsoever, that actually if something goes wrong, the Azure will send the email to that person, and they will be notified about this breach, and it will be transparent. So SQL Server database threat detection is only Azure feature is handling this part. And Article 35, data protection impact assessment. Maybe I don't know how many of you actually deal with security, but if you're dealing with security, you know that security is about the risk. So you have the asset, DB, you have the threat, malicious user, and vulnerability, I don't know, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, authentication failed, cookie forgery, 2FA failed, and so on. So intersection of these three sets is a risk. So we need to define the risk, and it's actually measurable. So there is a calculation that you actually say the risk is 25%. And based on that risk, I will go in front of my team, my company, say, okay, 25. But 25 can be a lot and can be small. So if 25% of the risk, say, we can lose our database with 10 million of customer, 25% on 10 million is huge. So we need to be careful with this percentage, and it's a case by case. So there is no magic stick, and there is no rule and guidebook that will show you, that will tell you, okay, from 1 to 10 it's okay, from 15 to 55 maybe not okay, and from 60 until 10 is a huge risk. So there is no such a book. So you need to measure case by case. So how you can actually do that? It's really hard to do it without intel information, without insight. So SQL Audit is a best feature that you can use for this. So you can collect a lot of audit data, how many updates, how many of these updates was okay, was not okay, delete statement, select statement, because select is really important. So actually select is kind of recognition before SWAT team goes in. So I will be careful, and I will with select, maybe through the application, maybe with code, maybe I don't know. I will try to see this, and that. Then after I see all this information, then I will try attack. So, for example, if you notice in your audit log that maybe Dr. A, Dr. Feel Good, looked at the patient medical record 25 times per day on each patient, something is wrong. So why you need to see 5 days a week, 25 times? So it's a risk. Something is not right there. So it's a risk. So based on that, the GDPR obligates you to actually have risk analysis and protect your data on that level. Also, you can use temporal tables. From my perspective, temporal tables are the best feature in SQL Server in last 5 years. Actually, temporal tables was a scientific paper. It's actually called Immortal Database. And Immortal Database is in theory database that actually record all states from the day one until day of die, unquote. So any change, anything, you have the history. So temporal tables, I will show you on the demo part, actually is deal with that. So you can track the history of the records. So my salary was, I don't know, A, and after 1 year is the salary B. So I want to see time frame, when is A, when is B. So based on that, I can calculate the risk of the data changes. And also, sometimes can be really hard to in huge databases, in production with hundreds of tables, with millions of records, maybe billions, to actually discover the data that have potential risk and classification. So SQL Server, actually Memory Management Studio and Azure version of interface have the feature that's so simple and doing so much that actually shows you still for now on only English databases, when you have English columns, last name, first name, credit card number, password, hash cells, and so on. So SQL Server will recognize English phrases and words, and it will show you based on data and the column names potential risk inside your environment. So you can maybe do some analysis and protect your data with encryption and so on. So this is discovery and classification that actually I just speak about. So now I will jump into demo. So I will show you how much I have time. You have time. I will show you this 5 feature. So just to switch to my SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. So let's first go with data masking. Okay. Now I will create a simple database with simple table, and just notice this function masked with. We are using built-in function default for email and phone to actually mask data on the insert. Okay. Execute. Now I will just try to insert some sample data inside. Okay, let's see. So everything's okay. So first name, last name, phone, email, everything's cool, everything's fine. But they are masked. But now because I'm admin, I see everything. But if I want to make another user and just grant the select without login to keep it simple, and if I now execute as this user, you will see that this user on his or her or their interface, they see only see the columns that they are not masked. So this will keep the privacy of the users on that level. So these data are not actually masked on the physical level. So just don't mix that. So if you need to defend this on the deeper level, then you will need to actually analyze this or encrypt, just to be sure if you are speaking about passwords and so on. Okay, Temporal DB. I will now also create Temporal Audit DB, simple, and then I will create some table. And please notice these 2 columns, sys start time and sys end time. and you see the data, they're actually daytime type, generated always for one period of system time with system version. So what happened? What is going on in this case? In this case, this when we create this table, just let me show you temporal audit tables. You will see this TB, and you will see this small table history. So SQL Server in this case create the real table and the history table with same structure. So the history will keep the records of the obsolete records. So when I change the record, when I change data, that record will be archived in history, and the original table will keep the new version of the data, while I have the information from sys start time until sys end time, how much was that data actually valid, and what's the amount of time is actually used in production. Okay, let's test it. Let's insert some sample data just for sake of the demo. 14 records, and let's make select for employee. So you see, the key column is salary. So you see, salary is 8,000, 10,000 something euro, dollars, whatsoever. But now, if I do like this, something like this, I will now update employee, set salary for specific employee, and I will now increase his or her salary for 2,000, let's say, euro. Now I have this. So the employee 7369 was have salary 8,000, and that salary was active maybe this couple of seconds. Maybe couple of seconds later, I have made the update, so we have the new version. So the old version should be archived, and new version actually jumped in. So so this history is really important from this audit perspective, and also is important for GDPR, because sometimes we need to go deep in to see the history of the transaction. So if you don't keep this history, so you don't have anything. And simply as that, you see now this is the old salary. But if I jump in history table, see, you will see this data. So salary is old salary, and this salary and this data, this record was up to date from this point until this point. So the history actually keep the history of all changes inside my DB. And let's go to encryption. I will, again, for the sake of demo, create a simple database, Crypto DB. And I will now create the master key for this specific DB. So I have the service key. Now service key will actually guard this database master key. So until now, I have two layers: service key and DB master key. So these are two keys. Let's move on. Just to be sure, this is my symmetric key, and I'm using AES-256. So the best known encryption in A standard so far. Well, again, for the sake of demo, let's create simple table: customer ID, first and last name, with credit card, expire 1 year. So this sensitive GDPR data. And I will now just grabs. Before that, I will create certificate. So I will now create two keys: certificate to actually guard the encryption key. So I want to be sure that this encryption key should be changed on the some different time frame. So expiry date is 2021, 1st of September. So after that, encryption will not be possible with this key. So it will force me to actually refresh encryption, to check encryption, to see is everything was right during this time frame. So 4 keys now: service master key, DB master key, certificate. Then on the final end, I have the symmetric key. So attacker need to have all these 4 of them. If she or he without TD, so the TD is out of equation now. If he or she actually pulls out this database, they will have all the clear text column, but they will only have maybe 1 key, but all this key above, service key and DB key, they will have not. So they will need to have the physical access to SQL Server, to master DB, to actually they make the copy of master DB and actually create the backup of all these keys. So if they have that kind of access, you don't have any security. So if they can go inside of your server room, or if they can go inside your heavy cloud, then you have the really big problem. Okay, now I will open this key. And let's grab this sample data from Adventure DB and actually to simulate ETL process of entering new user data. Okay, execute. And see 20,000 or maybe less. Something is going. Oh, okay. So it's take a really huge amount of time. It's the first time actually it takes 12 seconds. I will need to check what is going on because I use SSD here. Okay. Now I will close the key. And then let's try to see this data. So the attacker will have this last name, and he or she can only whistle now to actually try to brute force these hashes. Maybe if I copy this and if I open Notepad to actually show you, is this. So it's impossible to actually penetrate without brute force, without key, and brute force can take a lot of thousands of years to actually if you use strong keys. Okay, and one point before I close this part, please always after you use key, close them. So close the key. Why? Because when you open the key is open inside the memory, so it can be used. So in the case of the blue screen of death, in the case of memory dumps, in the case that actually Windows swept the memory and page file, the key can go on the disk level. So from the forensic perspective, if I, as someone who actually can analyze with different set of tools, physically machine, I can get these open keys from that page files or that memory dumps. So it can be reused. So it can help to the investigator or attacker. So it's perception now to actually get your data. So always close the key so that key can be pulled out outside of working. So RAM memory. And audit. Sorry. Okay, audit. I already prepared that audit. So what is vlogs? See, that actually I have a lot of server statements with a lot of metadata, so I can now analyze on a deep level who, what, when, what statement, what actually Jasmin was looking all day long before this session inside this eSlužba database. So this audit will help you to analyze the risk, actually to calculate risk and actually protect your data with GDPR. What can be actually what you can check just to actually show you really quickly. Security and database audit specification, new audit specification, full screen, just to pick up the audit on the server level file, and this is it. You see, these are the events. You see, delete, execute, insert, update, delete, select, DB roles changing on the schema level, fill authentication, permission change, principal. So any kind of action can be actually catched here on the object class, object schema, object name, principal name. So you can track this on a really small scale to the person, to the record level. Okay, and just to actually show this whole story quickly. Sorry. On the Azure, you see all this feature. Actually, if you use Management Studio and SQL statement, and you actually connect to Azure, actually Azure will handle that. But you can specifically target some function as a masking. You see dynamic data masking, and already here Azure is recognize these couple of columns and offer me to use mask of this column on that level. TD audit is also here, is disabled for this now. Also, classification discovery is here. All these features actually I showed you now. I was show you in Management Studio and SQL Server on-prem. And TD, you see, it's on by default. So if anyone download, even admin, your database from the cloud inside in the container, in the virtual machine, name it, will actually will be defended because they not have the all key chain from the service key until all the way down on the database master key. Okay, now I will go back inside my presentation. Yes, and challenges. Quickly, regulation part of equation and technical part. So far, you will not find anywhere beside maybe YouTube tutorials, blog posts, and so on, anyone that actually map you feature with regulation. So this segment is not covered. So if you need to implement GDPR, you need to have a person to actually understand the formal part of the story, actually law. Then that person will explain you, okay, this article need to do this. Then you will have to recognize what is in Postgre, SQL Server, .NET Framework, Node.js, MongoDB, name it, technologies, platform features will actually cover this part. So I hope this will change because GDPR is kind of new. It's only 2.5 years on the stage, and still not all companies, even in EU are not GDPR compliant at all in full coverage. So it's a process. So it will be really exciting to see how this stuff is going on. And finally, each company, if you want to deal with GDPR and data protection in general, for USA market, for Australian, for Asia, name it, you need to have data protection officer, DPO. DPO is not CISO, because CISO is dealing with security, and privacy is always opposite from that part. So DPO is senior role that needs to understand this legal part of story and the technical part. So it's kind of a best case scenario to have the person with 10 years plus experience in technical part of story with solid background of the legal part of story. This is me. Sorry, because if I break the couple of minutes, you can follow me in all these services. Twitter, LinkedIn, just use my handle at Jasmin Azemović, and then you'll find. sorry, my throat is kind of dry because I speak a lot. I speak fast, so you can find a lot of tutorials, blog posts, security related, and especially on GitHub, you can find my 2 books and a lot of SQL Server examples especially from this session, that you can actually implement inside your environment.